So, I want to tell you a story that every black female nerd should hear. I want to share my journey. The girl who put education, career, and made self-love a priority, and with no regrets. I'm Dasha. I took a job in Korea. A billion-dollar Korean merger and acquisition company was looking for an experienced mathematician with statistical analysis, AI modeling, and forecasting experience. See, I told you I was a nerd. I applied, and at the age of 26, was hired, flown out for a 2-year contract, and with a 3-year visa. The owner of the company really liked my work. He increased my salary after the first 90 days, and I ended up staying the full 3 years. To be clear, yes, a black woman from Ohio with an HBCU advanced degree can live and work internationally and slay. But that's not even the main story. This is just a little background. The real story starts 3 days before my time in Korea was about to come to an end. Those 3 days became a game changer. Let me count them down for you. 3 days before departure. I was in the office very early, and still the CEO Joon-Hung was already there. The sun hadn't even thought about rising. We were running through our last pitch, which was our also biggest pitch, our grand finale. We were recommending a small enterprise purchase and take over a company 3 times its size. We were different from other companies because we were bold and cocky, because it was all based on the data and the numbers. This was our last big deal together. It is a very big deal, but also very risky deal. He had been doing television interviews and all. The business world was watching to see if this vowed make or break his winning streak in the world of mergers and acquisitions. We were putting his company's reputation on the line, but if this went through, we would get global worldwide recognition. Well, I'm happy to say it was a massive success. When we walked out the boardroom, we were poised and dignified. He was what I call Korean cool and calm. He is normally even a little stoic. It was definitely all work and strictly business for him. But I could barely contain what I was feeling. And why not let loose? I was leaving in 3 days. And that is when it happened. We got in the elevator, and I saw a big smile on his face. I could see teeth and all. This was a big deal. In my 3 years working with him, it was the first time. And I couldn't help myself. I did a victory dance like I was a cheerleader at homecoming after the winning touchdown. I completely let down my sophisticated businesswoman persona. And that's when I heard him laugh. In the 3 years I worked for him, I never saw him smile or laugh. He was only 3 years older than I was, but he was all about business, and I'm not mad at him. It paid off because he'd own a billion-dollar company, and he wasn't in his 30s. I regained my composure and we head to his limo like we've done many times before. But he said, "I have a surprise." He popped a bottle of champagne. I guess that was his composed way of doing a victory dance. He said, "I just knew we would be celebrating a win today. I already had this on ice. Since you arrived, all we do is win, win, win," he said. "Cheers." I almost choked from laughing, and I responded, "Did you just quote DJ Khalid?" "You are full of surprises today," I said to him. "I'm competitive. I like to win so I can play and have fun in other ways when not working." I know, it sounded like I was flirting, but that wasn't my intent. The ride gave us enough time to have 3 glasses of champagne. Maybe just enough to give me the courage to say what I said next. I said to him as the driver opened my door in front of my corporate apartment of 3 years, "I'm glad we are ending things this way." Ending? I saw his face suddenly go stoic. "You remember that my contract is coming to an end in 2 days. My corporate apartment is packed up." He said he had forgotten the exact date, and for some reason thought it was not quite this soon. I tried to keep the mood light. I said, "No worries. I just mentioned it just because I'm leaving with this home run, and knowing it only took me 3 years to make you laugh." His smile didn't return. The mood had changed. We ended it with a somewhat flat good night and see tomorrow at the office. I had a real hard time sleeping that night. The city was radiating and pulsating. I replayed the presentation, the elevator victory dance, the limo, and champagne. And his smile and his laugh. Especially that last part. One thing puzzled me is when he said he didn't remember my departure date. That was odd for a man who was all about numbers, dates, and detail. Why was my leaving so forgettable? I have to admit it had been 3 years of a lot of work and not very much play, fun, or laughter. I can't say I got to explore and take in Korea, because it was work, work, work. And the person I worked elbow to elbow with this whole time didn't even remember I was leaving soon. I wonder, did he even give the fact that I made him laugh a second thought? Either way, making him laugh made me feel good. I like that I can be intense and fierce, but playful, silly, and even giddy. 2 days until departure. Even with little sleep, I did my morning workout and run. Bright and early, we were back in the office looking at what was next on his list of business conquest. I thought after yesterday's victory, today I would take the day to start getting ready for my departure. But he was operating like my time there wasn't coming to an end. No small talk, just work. I reminded myself, this is what consultants do. You come to a job and get paid and then you leave. I guess I expected something different. I thought that during that car ride that things had become relaxed between us, and my last days would be more laid back, but it was the opposite. It was quite tense. Then I had a sudden reality check. I happened to notice his hand. And there it was, his wedding ring staring at me. And so there you have it. He was married. Plain and simple. He was challenging my suggestion and pushing back, maybe more than usual. The way we were debating was a little tense. It was as if the elevator, the limo, and the laugh never happened. It was business as usual. There was an awkwardness as far as I can recall. I mentally hit myself in the back of the head as if to say, how dare I consider crossing the line of consultant and client? While I was disgusted with myself and viciously chastising myself, he was still talking, but the voices in my head were louder. Our connection was strictly work, not relaxed, and it needed to remain that way until I got on that plane. My final reply was, it's your company and your decision. I know he knew that wasn't an answer I would normally give. Instead, I pulled away, and in pulling back, I looked at my watch and realized, even if I did have a counterpoint or any fight left in me, I had to get home. My second to the last day was scheduled around the industry networking gala for charity. For 3 years, a formal gown from home hung in my closet. I worked out religious all 3 years to make sure I could fit in that gown before I got back on the plane to head to the States. So I left him standing at the board alone and darted out. I was only working a half day. I had to leave to get home to my glam squad to get ready for the gala. In fact, I was going to see him in about 6 hours. This was a global $1,000 a plate event. I was going because he paid for my ticket. Just when I thought it could not get more awkward, he caught me running for the elevator and said, "Can I send a car to pick you up?" My mouth moved, but no words came out. He quickly added, "Why take 2 vehicles when I have to drive by your apartment?" I said sure. What was the harm? I assumed it would be me, him and his wife. Why not meet the lady that makes him happy? She probably has seen him smile a million times to my one smile in 3 years. Even going to the gala, it's strictly about the business. And this is when things take a turn. There was his black stretch limousine, and instead of his driver, there to open my car door. The driver was still in the car sitting behind the wheel, and Joon-Hung was standing outside the car, providing an extended hand to help me into the car, but I look in the back seat of the car and I stopped in my tracks. I did not see anyone else in the car. I was expecting to see his wife. My blood ran cold immediately, so he takes me as a one-night trick. My mind had already analyzed the situation, and my mad black woman alarm was going off. I was about to release the Kraken, but he was acting so surprised and even embarrassed. "I was expecting to meet you, wife. I didn't expect it to just be you and I." He said, "I'm so sorry for the confusion. Actually, I am not married," he said sincerely. That set off another type of alarm. Is he going to now lie to me? I am heated, but I managed to still use my inside voice to say, "How can you say that when you prominently wear your wedding ring?" He just laughed and scrolled through his phone and handed it to me. He said, "Look at my phone, it's the front pages from 4 years ago. You don't have to know Korean to know what it says." But after I saw his phone that didn't explain everything, I said, "But you wear a wedding ring." Yes, it was my attempt to keep from attracting unwanted attention. Then he said, "I have the utmost respect for you. I apologize if I ever made you think I meant any form of disrespect. I can arrange for us to have separate cars." I got in the car quickly. I had already delayed us, and I was thoroughly embarrassed. 2 things I now know. 1, he has been divorced for 4 years, and number 2, He wasn't interested in me in that way. The car ride was quiet and stiff. I have a habit of overthinking things. We were in the same car, but we were both in our own thoughts. In my mind, I wanted to be invisible. To be so glammed up and to feel so unattractive? How could that be? This was a real low point, but no time to sulk. We arrive, and as he walked around to open my car door, I quickly threw back a glass of champagne he had poured, but I hadn't touched on our ride over. It was the liquid courage that helped me shift gears and get ready to meet and greet the industry leaders as I entered with the industry man of the decade. Joon-Hung Sook, because I knew a lot of people in the room, and so did he. We went different directions and made our way around and throughout the crowd. I feel like all night men were flirting with me, and then I would have reminded myself I had already misread one situation. I told myself I wasn't going to make that mistake again. Black girl confidence was deactivated. Period. Meanwhile, a fly on the wall heard something I didn't find out until way after I left Korea and went back home. What I later found out is that Joon-Hung Sook was devastated. His longest and closest friend stepped out on a terrace because he needed to decompress.
I was going to tell her, but the energy was off. I thought I closed my most important deal yesterday, but turns out, I think I missed out on something more important, and there is no recovering.
We both were thrown off by that uneasy ride to the event. I was bracing for an awkward ride back to my apartment. He asked if I would trust him and if he could have the driver pull over so I could walk along the river. He said, "It's a beautiful city, and maybe one day you will come back and have a chance to enjoy it." Standing outside the car, he saw me shiver. He offered his coat. His coat was an olive branch. He asked if he could put it around me, and I said, yes. Joon-Hung took me back to my corporate apartment. He walked me to the door. He bowed and thanked me for putting my trust in him, and he hoped I knew that he meant no disrespect. He walked away and got in his car, and the car drove off. For a minute I thought, this is the part of the movie where he comes back and knocks on the door, and he realized he wanted me, but sorry folks, this is real life. I stood in a room of moving boxers, realizing this is how this chapter ends. All good things must come to an end, even if it's an awkward ending. I could still smell his cologne that quite frankly smelled like $1,000,000. I took some time to enjoy the smell of a successful, respectful man that appreciated my work, appreciated my mind, and if he was attracted to me, did so with respectfully. His olive branch worked, my black girl confidence was reactivated. For any future suitors, the dating bar has been set very high when I get back to Ohio. I didn't sleep well that night either. What did he mean? Maybe one day I may come back? Did he mean for work? Or did he mean come back as a tourist? Or maybe come back as his personal, invited guest? Maybe he was waiting for my contract to officially end, so there wasn't a conflict of interest. There was one more day, and one last opportunity. I was excited about tomorrow, my final day and day of departure. I have an evening flight. I went in the office because they planned a farewell party. There was cake, flowers, food, and music in the office. It was purple, my favorite color. They said I brought a special black woman energy to the office, and that the office will forever be changed. There were even a few tears, but there was one person missing, even though he told them all meetings were canceled. Joon-Hung was in his office, not at the party. I walked in his office after the festivities. I told him the party was very nice. He said he told them to spare no expense. They really like you. They will really miss you. Those were his final words to me. No long goodbyes. It's that Korean cool, restrained vibe that I told you about. But being a black woman from America, I was not restrained. I said a few words from the heart. I hope whoever comes after me will do well. And I hope that they make you laugh every now and then. Sir, with all due respect, thank you for an opportunity that I will forever cherish. And then I did a traditional Korean bow. He turned and returned the bow. The insider information I later was given came from his best friend Minho. Minho told me he left work right after he saw me and asked Minho to come work out with him. At first, Joon-Hung didn't want to talk about it. So Minho did the talking. He asked Joon-Hung what time my flight left, what seat I was in, and what was my departure gate. Joon-Hung had all the data, but wasn't acting on it.
I was rooting for you two for the last 3 years. He was hesitating all this time because he doesn't know what to do when he doesn't have data and numbers to make decisions. I told him he had to take a risk based on his feelings. He told me he only felt good taking risk when you and he were working together. I told him so. Now you have to take a risk on keeping that connection that you all have. Joon-Hung walked out. I didn't know his plan. Was he or wasn't he going to let Dasha leave?
But I activated my black girl self-love booster. I'm not going out in tears. I had an amazing opportunity. Regretting this very brief moment is being ungrateful. I had accepted that there was not going to be some sudden romantic spark, or for me to have some amazing love connection story to take home about how this black girl turned heads in Korean. Instead, I was leaving just laughing out loud at the irony that I dared to dream. And on that note, I walked out with a smile. I concluded my pity party in the cab ride and walked in the airport resolved, and not sad. It's time to go home. Time to think about the things I missed back home, what to do first, who to see, and booking a welcome back hair appointment. And for the most part, thinking about home was a much-needed distraction.
Excuse me, miss. I don't mean to disturb you.
Suddenly, every male voice reminded me of his voice. I thought to myself. I was reaching up to remove one of my cucumber eye patches to see what would someone with that voice look like, other than Joon-Hung. Maybe it was his blue-collar doppelganger. I was for sure it could not be Joon-Hung, but the scent of his cologne did not say blue-collar. And that's when the script got flipped. It most surely was Joon-Hung serving me champagne. I had no words.
I brought you some champagne and a warm towel.
I jumped to my feet. When sitting down, all I saw was his muscular legs and bulging forearms. I had only seen him in suits and business attire. I needed to be eye level, otherwise I was not going to be able to have an articulate conversation. It had been 3 years, and frankly, I was thirsty, and not for champagne. Was it a coincidence he had a flight out this evening? Wait, he has a private plane. He doesn't fly domestic. And why is he serving me champagne? He is the one that gets served by others. Then, I realized this was not a normal waiting room for a domestic flight. There were flowers, candles, and a whole body massage chair. Did he set this up? Was he going to seduce me in his private waiting room and send me back home on a domestic flight? If this was his big romantic gesture, he cut it a little too close. I only had 45 minutes before I board. I'm sure we could do some damage, but I would be going home with a smile on my face and a hole in my heart.
Let me explain. I don't want you to think about that guy in the suit and tie. I left him back in the boardroom. When you made me laugh in the elevator, that was Joon-Hung. He's been offline for the last 4 years. I was trying to reboot him, but it took longer than I thought. But I'm here now as Joon-Hung. And I don't want you to get on that plane, but I know you have to go. Instead, I want you to take my private plane.
Long story short, I boarded his private plane and accepted the stipulations that came with it. For two master negotiators, I must say there wasn't a lot of back and forth. We finally seemed to be on the same page. So, there I was, boarding his private plane. Not as an employee, but as just myself. His guest. Unlike commercial flights, his chef flew with us. Clearly, there were preparations he made in a short period of time. The flowers and candles boarded with me. The vibe and ambience was extra looks. There was music piped throughout, was a soundtrack of songs that put into words what it feels like when loneliness realizes the moment you've been waiting for has finally arrived. When your personal plane has a gym, a shower, and a standby wardrobe, then a spontaneous flight to America is not an issue. For the next 18 hours, we just laughed a lot. We're open and transparent. He would sometimes just look at me, and I would giggle. Yes, a grown badass businesswoman giggling. And I remember him leaning over and touching my hand every waking moment. So now you are wondering what comes next. What happens after we land in my city around my people in the US? You are wondering how long did he stay, and what happens when he has to leave to go home? Well, I definitely have more stories to tell you, but for now, I'm going to just enjoy this moment. Night, night.
Your eyes, a galaxy of stars, capture me, hold me in your arms. Your smile, a ray of sunshine bright, makes my world feel warm and right. You're my everything, my guiding light. You fill my days and make my nights. I'm lost in you, my love so true. Forever yours, me and you. We dance through life, hand in hand. A love so pure, across the land. With every beat, my heart does sleep. You're all I need, you're all I keep. You're my everything, my guiding light. You fill my days and make my nights. I'm lost in you, my love so true. Forever yours, me and you. Dance through life, hand in hand. A love so pure, across the land. With every beat, my heart does leap. You're all I need, you're all I keep. You're my everything, my guiding light. You fill my days and make my nights. I'm lost in you, my love so true. Forever yours, me and you. Dance through life, hand in hand. A love so pure, across the land. With every beat, my heart does leap.